The Cardinals at the Rams. Kickoff Sunday, October 15th at 4:25 p.m. Eastern, with an over-under of 48.5. Game Overview by Mike Johnson. Arizona started the season playing very competitive football, but has shown signs of regression in recent weeks to the team we expected coming into the year. James Conner was placed on injured reserve this week, taking away a pillar of the Cardinals' offense. The Rams have started the season very well, and their current 2-3 record is a bit misleading. There isn't a particular strong point for either one of these defenses, while both offenses rate very well in most metrics. Los Angeles has two very talented wide receivers facing a defense with two of the bottom 10 cornerbacks in the league in PFF coverage grade. Arizona's defense has given up monster games to their opponent's top skill player in back-to-back weeks. How Arizona will try to win. Arizona's offense has performed well and exceeded expectations to start their 2023 NFL season. Quarterback Josh Dobbs has helped make this a more dynamic unit than most expected coming into the year, and the team has relied primarily on him and Conner as the pillars of this offense. Conner sustained a knee injury last week against the Bengals after a hot start to the game, however, and the Cardinals struggled from that point on. The Cardinals scored 2 touchdowns on their first 4 possessions with Conner in the game, taking a 14-10 lead about halfway through the second quarter. After Conner's departure, the Cardinals scored on only 1 of 8 possessions and were outscored 24-6. While there were certainly other factors that contributed to those splits, there is no doubt that this was not the same team without Conner on the field. Arizona ranks slightly above the league average in tempo, seconds per snap, and passes at the 17th highest situation neutral rate in the league. However, the Cardinals turned more pass-heavy after Conner's departure, and therefore we can expect a more pass-heavy game plan for Week 6. Keontae Ingram and Emari Demercado are likely to both be involved as replacements for Conner, but neither is a game changer, and Ingram is coming back from an injury of his own. The likely usage of those players would seem to be Ingram in a 2-down role, and Demercado mixing in as a change of pace back with a pass-down role. We may also see an increase in usage for Rondale Moore, as he has been used in some creative ways to start the season. And without Conner, the Cardinals will be searching for ways to move the ball. The Cardinals' passing game will be relatively aggressive, with Marquise Brown as the focal point and Michael Wilson and the tight ends also seeing targets. Ultimately, most of the team's success will fall on the shoulders of Dobbs. Los Angeles plays primarily zone coverage and does not blitz often, trusting Aaron Donald and company to apply pressure without additional rushers. Dobbs will have to try to pick this secondary apart strategically and take what is given to him underneath. Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown feasted last week, and the Cardinals' tight ends and Wilson may have some chances to sit down in zone coverage against this secondary. The Rams' defensive approach leaves a lot of defenders in coverage, and their below-average pressure rate should give Dobbs time to assess the situation and make plays with his legs when there is nothing downfield. Jalen Hurts had success rushing last week, and Dobbs should contribute on the ground as well in this matchup. How Los Angeles will try to win. In back-to-back weeks, the Cardinals have given up monster games to the focal points of their opponent's offense. In Week 4, Christian McCaffrey had over 170 yards from scrimmage and scored 4 touchdowns. In Week 5, Jamar Chase caught 15 passes for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those are some truly incredible numbers and show that the Arizona defense either isn't interested or isn't capable of taking away a team's top option and preferred method of attack. Arizona's defense started the year strong against the Commanders, Giants, and Cowboys, with the exception of a big second half from the Giants. Their general philosophy is a conservative, zone-heavy scheme that focuses on preventing big plays and forcing their opponents to march the ball down the field. This strategy was successful against the Commanders because they played a conservative game and didn't have a focal point that they could rely on to move the ball. The Giants struggled as well due to a lack of passing game weapons, although they figured it out after halftime. Finally, the Cowboys moved the ball well against Arizona, but couldn't turn drives into points, primarily due to self-inflicted red zone issues. The big picture takeaway here is that the Cardinals defense is designed in a way that is going to give teams fits if they don't have any truly elite skill players and or if their offense is not well designed. Taking all of that and applying it to this week's matchup for the Rams, this is a terrific spot for the Los Angeles offense. Cooper Kupp returned to the lineup last week and promptly saw 6 targets on the first drive of the game, which he turned into 5 receptions for 56 yards. Kupp ended the game with 12 targets for 8 receptions and 118 yards, a very good return to the field after a lengthy absence. Meanwhile, Puka Nacua maintained a massive role with 11 targets that he turned into 7 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown. The two combined for 23 targets on 37 Matthew Stafford pass attempts, a combined 62% target share. This week, the Rams face a Cardinals team that has 2 starting cornerbacks ranked in the bottom 10 in PFF coverage grades, and that was just absolutely shredded by a gimpy Joe Burrow targeting Chase 19 times. Chase's performance was impressive from his perspective, but alarming from that of the Cardinals, considering T. Higgins was out, and anyone who was watching the game knew on most plays exactly where the ball was going, but Arizona appeared helpless to stop it. The Rams' offense is likely to pick up right where the Bengals left off, relentlessly attacking the Cardinals with their elite duo of wide receivers who can attack at all areas of the field. These are crisp route runners, and Stafford is accurate with great timing. The Rams' offense stalled a bit last week against the Eagles primarily due to pressure up front and a game script that limited their number of possessions. The Cardinals rank 31st in the league in pressure percent and 30th in the league in blitz rate, so Stafford should feel very comfortable and in rhythm all game here. Similar to the Bengals, the Rams' ancillary receiving options should also gather a few relatively easy opportunities as Arizona scrambles to keep up with a well-oiled passing attack. The Rams' offense will also run the ball and likely maintain a moderate level of success doing so, but the focal point of their offense will be on their best players, Stafford, Kupp, and Nacua, and they should have a great deal of success. After a decent start to the season, the Cardinals have surrendered 69 points in the last 2 weeks, and the Rams' offense is well coached with talent. Los Angeles should be able to move the ball up and down the field almost at will in this matchup, with red zone success being the only thing that might stand in their way. Likeliest game flow. Zooming out to look at the first 5 weeks of the NFL season, the Rams are probably one of the more underrated teams in the league. That's a surprising statement to make about a team only a little over a year removed from hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, but true nonetheless. The Rams have a very young defense and struggled offensively last year, primarily due to injuries. Nakua's ascension as a strong second option and Tutu Atwell as a legitimate threat has changed the dynamic of this offense, however, and the defense is proving itself capable. The Rams have a 2-3 record, but when you dig into that, you can see that 2 of their losses were respectable showings against the 49ers and Eagles, clearly the top 2 teams in the NFC, and their other loss was a close one against the Bengals in a Super Bowl rematch. The schedule lightens up a bit going forward, and that starts this week against a Cardinals team that has lost some steam after an inspiring start. The Rams' offense should have no trouble moving the ball, and is likely to generate an early lead. Arizona's defense generally lets teams move the ball and hopes to limit them to field goals, but that strategy may be tougher this week without Connor available to sustain their own drives. As the Rams build a lead and apply pressure to the Arizona offense, they will have no choice but to open things up a bit and be more aggressive through the air. The Rams' run defense is nothing to write home about, but removing Connor from the equation and having to deal with Donald up front is likely to force Arizona to rely primarily on Dobbs to move the football. This game could quickly turn into a quarterback-centric matchup with Stafford dicing up the Arizona secondary and Dobbs being leaned on to make plays both with his legs and his arm. Los Angeles offensive success feels like a very good bet, and the Cardinals offense is capable of moving the ball as well when they are pressed. The Cardinals play at a moderate pace that picks up when forced, while Los Angeles has really started to pick up the pace in recent weeks and should do so even more this week at full strength against a weak opponent. This game has a lot of potential to turn into a back-and-forth shootout or a Rams onslaught.